Two of the things that I've always struggled to balance in my life has been science and music. Science, because I was born in a family. My dad is a science teacher, and there were several books about science, about discoveries of Earth, and so many other things. Actually, I remember the first name that I came across was Galileo, and I think it really stuck because it was strange enough, like my surname, Gaveta, and because he also had some amazing discoveries about science. So it was a name that first stuck, and I was already in love with science when I was a very little kid. So science has never been an issue for me to maneuver around. But at the same time, as I was growing up, I grew up in a community that was really hard in terms of the character that it was labeled. There was a lot of violence, there was a lot of bullying, there was a lot of things that were happening. There were times that I didn't go to school because I didn't want to go to school because I would get bullied. I was the youngest in my class almost all my life. So I would go and watch movies the whole day to make sure that I don't get bullied. So I stuck there, but then it became too much to the point that I needed to find a way to cope with that. And of course, the first thing was I need to learn how to fight. So I started practicing karate and I started bodybuilding so that I could have that physical muscle to stand up to them. But then there was also another part where I got introduced to music, and music became my escape because I would be busy listening to music and writing music and listening to a lot of things. And to be honest, I think I've learned a lot about the world through music because I learned about a lot of cultures, a lot of practices. When I traveled to certain places in or Europe or US, people think that I've been there before, but basically I've learned that through music. So it became a profound part, but because it kept me in the room, so I loved it and I enjoyed making the music, but I also enjoyed doing the science. So it was really confusing for people to really figure out who I was because some other people would think I'm a good science learner, other people would think I'm a good musician. But these two were always conflicting in my life because other people would encourage me to continue music, other people would encourage me to continue doing school because I was a bit good at both. So eventually, growing up, going to university, trying to live the university life, I needed an upkeep. So I started using music to make money. We started making performances to be able to earn an income while I was at the university. But at the same time, I needed to keep up with my school grades and the things that I was doing in school. So there was a little bit of a conflict, and that conflict grew as I grew older. But of course, at that point, it was really fun because the teachers loved me because I was good in class. And the fans outside, they used to love my music. And it was nice to feel like a celebrity moving around. So at the time that I was growing up, coming to a place where I needed to establish my profession, I realized that I had to choose. I even had a tattoo when I wanted to say I'm stopping music because I thought it was disturbing my career, which was, in that case, the science part. But I would not really get myself to quit music. It was something that had helped me to go through several things, and it was one way that I was escaping a lot of things, and I loved it. And apart from just the music, and I think the artistic part of it introduced me to how communities lived and how I could relate to more people. But then I also enjoyed to be called somebody who's good at science. As I grew up, I got to a place where I needed to figure out one thing that I'm going to pursue. When I was joining the One Planet Fellowship in 2019, I had no idea what to do. Actually, I was hesitant to tell people that I do music because I would think they would always judge me that, how come you're also in music, but you're also doing this? Choose one thing to do. But it was hard for me to choose because I loved both of those things. One way that I tried to balance it when I was younger is that I used to write all the notes from class, all the formulas from the science class. I wrote them into lyrics so that when I get into the exam room, I just recite them And I'm singing and I'm remembering everything and I'm writing. And and for a while, it really worked. And until when I had a chance to finish my bachelor's and I was home jobless, and everybody thought that it's the music that's keeping you not getting a job because you're busy into music, you're not busy trying to pursue your career or busy to trying to advance that part. But I would like to say that what I learned from there is that the science part of it was really interesting because there were a lot of facts, a lot of discoveries, a lot of things that when you're sharing with people, they were fascinated about them, and you could also connect with that community. But this music part and the art part was also the part where it was easy for me to adapt to different communities around the world, not just in Malawi, but across the world, because I listened to several types of music. Of course, reggae and hip hop were my favorite, but but I listened to a lot of music, including jazz and so many other things. But because I love music, I would like to give you a taste of how that felt. All right, so here goes. I hear the crowd screaming, the previous track is finished. They need a bit of life, and the life is in music, vernacular or English, no matter what the language. You can blow the trumpet in the midst of the violins, saxophones and guitars connected to the speakers with optimum tweeters. The sound wave magic stimulates my action. I picked some time to perfect my rhymes, so let me give you some music. I say, let me give you. I sacrifice intelligence, I mix it with skill, no matter what you think, but music is real. This is how I felt every time. And it really got hard to the point that I didn't know what to do. But one thing that I came across is when I was selected for the One Planet Fellowship, there was this purpose roadmap. The purpose roadmap had a way of trying to give you a structured way of what do you want to achieve in the different aspects. Of course, in that original form, there was only the academic and the science and the career, and I added the music part. So I started pursuing this. I was like, okay, in this science, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do this article. I'm going to do that. In this music, I'm going to make this music, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. But they were like separate parts of the same person, so it was really hard to move together. But what I really loved about that was that the purpose roadmap, apart from the path to get to the purpose, on top of it, you had to make a purpose statement, and that purpose statement, I said, I want to transform how we communicate with communities on climate change adaptation so that they can relate with the science that we produce. So at that point, I felt relieved. I thought I could use that artistic part of me to really connect with people, to touch people, but to actually tell them about the science that I know and the science that is out there. And I really believe that's one of the greatest tools that I've gotten from the One Planet Fellowship. From that moment, as I went to work as an extension worker, because we were dealing with farmers and several other communities, one thing that somebody told me was that there are always two meetings. There's the meeting that you do as you are an extension worker delivering your message, and then there's the meeting that they do when you leave. The meeting that they do when you leave, that's the most important meeting, because that's when they decide if they're going to take what you've taught them or they're not going to take it. So I thought, okay, that really sounds very profound, but how do I actually get to know what that means? So lucky enough, I got a job with Peace Corps, and Peace Corps actually has a way of going into the communities where they have volunteers to stay and serve the community. So they actually stay in the community that they're serving. So I was the technical trainer in the environment aspect, but more than just training them, the technical aspects, you had to understand the community that they're going to live so that you can tell them how they can conduct themselves out of the technical aspects so that they can actually be able to relate with the people. So this was like my first eye-opening moment. I was like, oh, okay, so there is a connection between this part of humanity and this part of science where you actually want to say, this is the technical aspects that I bring to you, and this is also the science that I bring to you by understanding that community. And so I went back to the music. I had stopped it for about 4 years because I thought people were going to not accept it. So I went back to music and I started understanding what it meant, and I started to learning how communities work through that music. And after I got working on the purpose roadmap, understanding the thing, actually I connected on top of those two lines, the science and the music that I had. I finally had a connect that really made sense. To this day, I would say that I'm happy that that has actually worked in a point that my studies no longer focus on just the science, but because I looked at science differently, I was happy with the opportunity that I got and the support from Award to present how to integrate indigenous knowledge into climate smart agriculture, something that I had never thought before that. I actually believe that people are more familiar and they're more easy when they're staying in their cultural context. And I think that they value more culture and art than they value science in communities. But how to bring the science to this community is something else that works. And from then, I started looking at ways how we can actually develop the approaches and science that can actually work in communities. I believe that if all scientists would look at where the context of any innovation would work by looking at the context or the cultural context where they're going to bring it, it will make it easier for them to actually transform their community. I'll give you an example that when we're doing a study with some Laureate candidate, we were looking at how conservation agriculture have been adopted. It is a very nice science concept, and it has had a lot of investment in Malawi. But to date, maybe only 1.6% of the whole population have adopted it. So that was a really big question that I was questioning, and I thought that it is impossible to say that science is good, but it is not working for people. So that has been the journey that I've been through to just really balance where science and art can come together. And I'm happy that at that end, I thought it was not recognized by so many people, but I'm supporting communities that are in Rwanda, Uganda, and Malawi, some of the places that I've never been. But because they give me the context of that country, I've been able to develop some tools that have helped to participate and practice what they call the community-driven development, a new approach for climate change adaptation that looks at communities making their own decisions about how they want to adapt to the effects of climate change. And I think that this is something very, very profound. And because of that, I started an initiative that we call Conservation Arts, which is meant to really work with the youths by bringing science in an artistic platform. The idea is to share their scientific facts, but in the artistic platform, which is more like this. I wish the drummer was still here. I was going to do another song, but he's gone. Oh. So yeah, I really thank the opportunity that I got introduced to the Purpose Roadmap, and I believe in the community that I grew up in, where we had no idea of what you want to take your life to. If most of the youths were exposed to that approach of that Purpose Roadmap to just really figure out what you want to achieve in the next 2, 3 years or 4 years, I think a lot of youths would have gone far, and I think we would have a lot of scientists. And I'm very happy that I was part of the One Planet Fellowship. But I'm also happy that I now started again making music with my daughter. Thank you.